an extension. Shannon, this is crazy to me. How does it play out?
Messy. It's going to get messy,
Yeah.
Skip. Skip, if you don't remind me, let's go back to last year. What was the story of the draft last year? The Green Bay Packers moved up to take a quarterback. What's the story of the draft this year? This is not an accident that this came out, that his agent put this out.
Good point.
I don't doubt that he put it out.
This is not an accident, Skip.
Yep.
Oh, you want to show me up.
This was the ultimate touche.
Yes. Oh, you thought you was in the catbird seat. We gonna show Aaron Rodgers. We back in control. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Boom.
And you saved it for draft day, right?
For a draft. Because he could have released this, Skip, because here's the thing. This goes back not just last year, Skip. This goes back 2 years ago when they hired the new coach. And it was reported by someone very, very close in the Green Bay organization, and they told a reporter, they said that Mark Murphy reached out to Aaron Rodgers and said, don't you be the problem.
That is
now,
correct.
Skip,
that was in the Bleacher Report.
Skip, when it gets that specific, that means only a handful of people knew that was said. For that, I can assure you, Aaron Rodgers ain't releasing that. He's not telling somebody, man, you know what that joker told me? He told me I better not be the problem. That came from the front office. And what we've seen from Aaron is not very forgiving. He's not easily forgiving. He holds grudges. He didn't forget that. He's like, y'all leaked that. Y'all leaked that to make me look bad. Now turn around. Not only did you not tell me you're going to select a quarterback, you moved up to get him. Okay. I watch all these other quarterbacks that have the cachet that I have. They gave Tom Brady whatever he want. Tom, you want AB? We got him. You want us to get Gronk? We got him. You want us to select the offensive tackle? We'll get him. What you want, Tom? You want Leonard Fournette? You want to play out Lenny? We got him. Aaron, shut up. Play football. We run this. You play quarterback. So he says, okay, enough. It's not an accident that he went all in. Skip, he started talking about this after the game, remember? Remember, right after the game, he's like, I don't know what my future holds. The cards are not in my hands. That's not an accident. I knew this was going to get messy when they leaked that about, they told him, don't be the problem.
Yep.
I knew the very moment that they selected a quarterback. Skip, the guy went to, I can see, Skip, if they hadn't been in the playoffs in a minute, Skip, they went to the NFC Championship game. And then he turns back around and he follows that up with an MVP season. And I know once he won that MVP season, he said, I'm really in the catbird seat. Been reported that Gutekunst and Mark Murphy and the head coach, they've been flying. But that ain't what you've been saying. You say, we don't talk about players. We don't do this. We don't do that. Now, all of a sudden, Skip, it's a situation, the relationship. Up there, if you believe, it's all good. I don't really care. As soon as they head out the door, okay, babe, I'm sorry, what I need to do? What I need to do to make it right? You can't make it right because you already done showed me. You told me you didn't care. It's going to end real bad. It's already. I know we want to hold on to him. We want to commit it. See, you don't commit after you committed to someone else also. You can't do that, Skip. He said, how you committing to me? You got a girlfriend. You got her on the side. You got Jordan Love. That's your boo-boo thing. That's who you got to replace me.
And now she's on the side. She's out front.
You can't, Skip. He said, hold on. How you say you're going to commit to me now? When last year you went to the draft and you moved up.
Yep.
The guy didn't even slide. At least I slid to you. You didn't even trade up to get me. I fell in your lap. I don't see how they make this better. It's being reported that he's turned down contract extensions. He's rebuffed their time, want to talk. He ain't trying to hear anything. But it's the one thing we know about Aaron, Skip, is that when you ruffle his feathers, he never forgets it. And he's not the easiest to like, okay, you know what, let's try to make... I don't see this ending well. I see this Aaron Rodgers is going to force his way out of there. And we knew this was coming. Oh, Skip, you covered this game too long. You know how quarterbacks are. That's the one position, and that's why coaches are very reluctant. Only Coach Belichick is the only guy that I know that will criticize a quarterback in front of his teammates. And I played 14 years. I'm not saying John Elway. I'm talking about even the other quarterbacks.
Yep.
I've never seen the head coach chastise them publicly the way Coach Belichick would do Tom. So that's an isolated incident in the 100-year history. And for them to do what they did to him, quarterbacks got really, really thin skin. They got really huge egos with that big. And for you to do that, he up out of there, Skip.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers has the biggest ego of any quarterback in pro football. That's what I believe. I also think he is often a blame-deflecting, finger-pointing diva who is very difficult to get along with inside the locker room and with management upstairs. It's just he's hard to handle. He has been spectacularly great during regular seasons, not so much in the postseason.
Correct.
So the point is, they have been trying to find a way to replace him for at least 2 years, because it started with that bombshell report. They're trying to ease him out the back door for 2 years.
Right.
And Jordan Love was their first attempt that was public and in his face to go to, and they did not notify him. They did, and they said last night, Gutekunst said, well, things happen on the fly in a draft. There's no time. No, there was time.
You knew you was taking a quarterback.
You could have pulled it off.
Exactly.
You could have made one quick call to him just to say, hey, just so you know this is coming, and it would have made him feel slightly better, but only slightly better.
And they didn't confer with him about the coaching situation. He was totally left out of the loop and just said, don't you be the problem, though.
Well, that was the call from Mark Murphy.
Yes.
Just informing Aaron that we just hired this unknown kid, right?
Correct.
He's just a kid,
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur.
Correct.
Who was on the Washington staff, right? And that was the phone call, reportedly, that Mark Murphy ended with, from this point forward, don't you be the problem.
Right.
Okay.
And that got out.
Okay, it got out, but he was put on notice publicly by his manager.
Yes.
Going all the way to the top.
Yes.
Okay, so to your point, yesterday was his get back, and he waited a whole year to get even with them, and then he just threw it right in their face on draft day leading to draft night. And yet they threw it right back in his face, because Gutekunst, after the draft last night, said, we will not trade Aaron Rodgers. And the point was, to me, their pride got, they got all up into their own feelings, and they were basically saying publicly, we will do this on our timetable, not your timetable.
Yeah.
Because clearly Jordan Love was not ready last year. We didn't have any preseason, so I don't even know what he looks like.
Right.
They said in practice he was not very good. But it's hard to know until you have any kind of game-type situation to see what he can do. And I don't know his game, so I'm shooting in the dark about how good Jordan Love can
Well, you talk to people in Kansas City, and you talk to Kelsey, and you talk to those other guys. We saw in practice Patrick Mahomes was going to be special.
Okay, they knew from day one in practice. Okay, well, obviously, nobody's saying that in Green Bay. So it's possible that they're waiting for next year's draft, that maybe they're saying, we'll get our quarterback of the future the next go-round.
Wow, Skip, if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, you're not going to lose enough games to be in position to get one of the Sam Howells of North Carolina or the
trade up. Maybe you have to, who knows? Maybe it's a free agent move. Maybe, who knows what it is.
Right.
But they're not ready to do it yet.
Right.
They need Aaron to be their quarterback for one more year, and they are going to try to enforce their right to have him as their quarterback. So is this going to be a bloody, messy holdout situation?
It is.
Where he just won't report, and then he won't play for how long? How long does he want to sit and not get paid? Well, how long will that go?
Skip, don't know him well, but just watching his mannerisms. When he digs in, he digs in. We know there's some issues, some things that have happened, be it family-wise, and he doesn't seem to be as forgiving as some people would.
That's true.
Now, that's with his family.
Yep.
You think he's going to be less than forgiving?
Where he's alienated from some of his family.
After you guys did that, Skip, you called a man and told him, don't you be the problem.
Yep.
He like as if I was the problem. Skip, if you tell me don't be the problem, what are you telling me? I'm the problem.
Okay, so I'm going to just put this back in some quick perspective about how Green Bay, where your brother played, and you know this well, it's called Title Town.
It is.
And they have not won a title in 10 years since Aaron took them on the 4-0, or it was a wild card road run to that championship. Beat Pittsburgh, played in one Super Bowl and won it. Since then, he's 7-8 in the postseason. But more important, he's now 1-4 in NFC Championship games. So he's lost all 4 since the Super Bowl. But remember the Caleb Haney game at Soldier Field, the one that he won. He threw no touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and he almost blew the game to the backup quarterback for the Bears, Caleb Haney, because, remember, Jay Cutler was sitting on the bicycle riding through the second half because he had a strained knee, right?
Yep.
Okay, so That day, his QBR was 68, which wasn't very good. And then he turns right around and goes to Seattle. And I know a lot happened in that game, but the Green Bay media believes that was the worst of the NFC Championship games that he played. He had a QBR of 55. That scaled 0 to 100. And he threw 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions, and they lost in overtime, as you remember. They got blown out at Atlanta, not all his fault. He played okay in that game. But then at San Francisco 2 years ago, he had a QBR of 23, scale of 0 to 100, and was just, by his standards, he was pathetic in that game.